Right now, somewhere in the UK, there's a bloke typing a message to a girl in Pattaya about coming back. He's probably already sent money, and he has absolutely no idea what happened 2 days after he got on that plane home. I know because I know the girl who was there. Let me give you the details, because the details are the whole point. A friend of mine, someone I've known 5 years, someone I trust, told me about a girl she works with. New to the scene, never worked a bar or a club before in her life. Started at the same venue as my friend. Few weeks in, a bloke walks in. Second time he's ever been to Pattaya. First time he's ever set foot in that kind of venue. He connects with the new girl, takes her out one night, comes back the next day and says he wants to spend 2 weeks with her. Pays for the whole 2 weeks, flies her to Koh Samui, pays for everything. By the end of it, he's telling her she's the one, buys her gold, says he's never felt like this before. He flies home, messages every day, talks about sending money, talks about coming back, talks about bringing her to his country. And 2 days after he lands, she's back in Pattaya, and a regular customer of my friend's arranges a weekend with both girls together. Sit with that for a second, because here's the question that actually matters. That bloke isn't stupid. He's got a job, responsibilities, a normal functioning life back home. So how does something this obvious not register? Here's the honest answer. And it's not, he's an idiot. Why smart blokes fall for this? A lot of the men who end up in these situations came to Thailand because something about connection wasn't working back home. Maybe they'd never felt that kind of attention before. Maybe they'd just come out of a divorce. Maybe they'd spent years feeling completely invisible to the people they wanted to notice them. And then you land somewhere and someone gorgeous is giving you total attention. Warmth, physical closeness, the feeling of being chosen. All of it, immediately, all at once. Your nervous system doesn't know how to process that. It just reacts. It wants more of it. It wants to protect what it thinks it's found. And in that state, the state of feeling something you haven't felt in years, or maybe ever, your ability to read the situation accurately just drops. Not because you're naive, because you're human. Same wiring that makes people fall in love anywhere on Earth, except here it's being triggered on a timeline about 10 times faster than anything you've experienced before. And the thing is, the people running this well aren't lying to your face in a way that feels like lying. They're performing something that feels completely real, because the performance has been refined over thousands of interactions with thousands of men. It works because it's built to work. The ask never starts big. Most people think the money side starts with a big request. It doesn't. It starts so small you barely clock it as a transaction at all. You're still there, still spending time with her. She mentions not asks, mentions that she's a bit short this week. Rent's due, she's short her half. You've got the money. It's nothing to you. A few hundred baht, maybe 3 grand for rent. So you help, because you're a decent person and it costs you nothing. That's the first transaction, and what it actually does is establish something. Asking works. You respond when she needs something. The channel's open. You go home. Contact keeps going, messages, calls, the warmth kept up across the distance. Then something else comes up. Motorbike needs fixing, phone's broken, a bill, small enough that saying yes is easy. And every yes makes the next one easier, because now there's a pattern. Now you're the person who helps. Then one day it's 50 grand baht for a family medical thing. Grandmother needs surgery, hospital bill, something that lands right on the exact emotional pressure point that makes it almost impossible to say no to. And by that point you're deep enough in financially, emotionally, in the story you've told yourself about what this is, that 50 grand feels like a continuation of something, not the sharp left turn it actually is. That's the sequence, every time. It's basically scripted at this point because it's been run enough times that the people running it know exactly how it plays out beat for beat. Free money. There's a woman I know, my dry cleaner, actually. Been in Pattaya for years. Knows hundreds of women working this scene who told me something that reframed the entire thing for me. There's a term some working girls use for money that comes in from a sponsor or a long-distance boyfriend. Translated, it basically means free money. Money you don't do anything for except ask. The contrast is with work money, money you actually have to earn through your job. Free money just requires the right conversation with the right person at the right moment. The bit that stuck with me, this has a name, a shared, recognized term inside that specific circle. That's not a rare hustle a couple of opportunistic people stumbled onto, that's common enough and normal enough within that scene that it developed its own vocabulary. She reframed it for me in one sentence. You're not in a relationship, you're a revenue stream that's been given relationship language to keep it stable and producing. I asked her straight up, of the women under 35 working that scene right now, how many have at least one person abroad sending them money every month? She didn't hesitate. At least half, by her estimate, within the circles she personally knows. And the ones getting the most attention, the most in demand, those ones, she said, often have 3 or 4 running at once. Not one, 3 or 4. Now think about the conversation where she told you that you're different from the other guys, that what you two have, nobody else gets. She's had a version of that conversation with multiple people. All of them believe it, because the version she gave each one was built specifically to be believable to that person. The bit almost nobody talks about. Here's something that genuinely surprised me when I heard it laid out properly. When a girl in this scene lands a full-time foreign boyfriend, someone actually there, actually present, the real primary relationship, you'd assume the other sponsors get cut, or at least scaled back. She's got the real thing now, right? According to my dry cleaner friend, that's often not what happens. Instead, she strings the sponsors along. Excuses when they want to visit family stuff, other commitments, whatever, keeps them at a distance while keeping them warm and keeping the money coming. Because that income from multiple sponsors is real money. And giving it up just because the emotional need it was covering has been replaced doesn't make financial sense to her. So, the boyfriend is the relationship. The sponsors are the income. Both running at once, and most people involved have no idea the others exist. The sponsor thinks he's got something exclusive. The boyfriend thinks he's got something exclusive. Neither one's right. It's not only about the money. Here's the twist that makes this more complicated than she's just after cash. For some women in this specific situation, poor rural background, limited options at home, a foreign boyfriend isn't only a wallet. According to my dry cleaner friend, it can also represent an escape from a rigid local class hierarchy that would otherwise box her in for life. A foreign man doesn't operate inside that same system and doesn't care about it the way some local social circles might. For a woman who genuinely wants more than her background was ever going to hand her, that can be a real, legitimate route to a different kind of life, which means sometimes it is just about the money, and sometimes it isn't, or isn't only, and you can't always tell which one you're dealing with from the inside. In week 2, from a beach in Koh Samui. The exception that proves it, I know an American bloke, lives in Thailand full-time, been with the same woman for years. She used to do gel nails at a small shop. Good at it. Genuinely liked the job. He watched that, understood what it meant, and after 3 years together he bought her a shop of her own. She doesn't take an allowance, she makes her own money, runs the place well. They're still together years later. That's a real relationship. And it started with him actually being there, watching how she behaved in ordinary, unremarkable moments, not the constructed ones, and deciding based on what he observed, not what he felt in the first fortnight. That's the entire difference between his situation and the UK guys. Not luck, time and presence. He wasn't writing messages home to someone he'd known for 2 weeks. And here's the flip side worth saying out loud. The women who aren't running an arrangement, the ones who actually want something real, can also tell the difference between a man paying attention and a man reacting to the environment, and they gravitate toward the ones paying attention, because those are the ones capable of building something that lasts. What she'd tell you if you asked my dry cleaner friend also gave me the list of things that are genuinely hard on her side. Of one of these relationships, not the perks, the friction. Language tops it. No deep conversation, no easy back and forth, unless her English is properly strong, which is rarer than the whole environment makes it feel. There's a ceiling on how much real understanding can pass between two people who don't share a language well. Then there's the privacy thing, which she said is the one that causes the most arguments. In a lot of local relationships, there's no financial privacy between partners' phones, bank balances, all visible, nothing hidden. So when she picks up your phone and looks through it, she's not being invasive by the standard she grew up with. She's doing what a partner does. And when you react badly to that because it's a violation by your standards, she reads that reaction as you hiding something, not as you simply having different norms. That single misunderstanding, she reckons, accounts for a huge chunk of the arguments in these cross-cultural relationships. And then there's structure. Foreign guys tend to want routine plans, schedules, consistency. That's often just not how life runs for someone who didn't grow up with it. So structure doesn't read as stability to her. It reads as being managed, like having a dad instead of a partner. Real friction, worth knowing before you build anything on top of it. Two directions. She said women who land a foreign boyfriend tend to go one of two ways. One is the American guy's girlfriend ambition, and using the stability to build something of her own. The shop, the income, the independence. The other she called the lazy madam type. Gets the allowance, becomes a full-time lifestyle consumer. Beauty, clothes, and gold, specifically gold. Because gold is visible, it's the clearest status signal in that culture. And it tells everyone who sees it that she's got money. Then it's the car, then the house, then the land. Never all at once, because that would be obvious. One request at a time, each one framed as its own specific need. The early tell, apparently, is simple. She stops doing anything the moment the allowance starts. If she was working before you showed up and stops the second you start providing, that's telling you something. She wasn't waiting for love. She was waiting for a better income source than the one she had. The ones who keep working or start a project they're actually invested in that's a different kind of person. Not a guarantee, just different. If you recognize yourself in this, if you're watching this and something in it landed a bit too close, here's what I want to say to you directly. Being in this situation doesn't mean you were thick. It means you were human, in an environment specifically built to target the most human parts of you. Wanting connection, wanting to be chosen. That's not a weakness. That's normal. The industry around this has spent decades getting better at aiming at exactly that. What matters now is what you do with the information. If you're sending money regularly and you're not totally sure what's happening in Pattaya between transfers, you now have a much clearer picture of the likely answer. You don't need certainty to act on probability. And based on what the people closest to this scene consistently say, the probability isn't in your favor. If you think you've got something real, test it. Go back. Stay a month, not 2 weeks. Watch how she behaves in the boring moments, not the ones built to impress you. Talk to people who've known her longer than you have. And if what you find matches what you hoped, great, genuinely. The evidence is what makes it real, not the feeling. The feeling can sit perfectly comfortably on top of a situation that isn't what you think it is. Evidence is a lot harder to fake over time. The whole sequence, laid flat. Let me run it one more time, start to finish. Because seeing the whole shape is what makes it recognizable when you're inside it. Small money while you're still there. A few hundred baht for food barely registers as a transaction. Then rent, a few thousand, still feels like helping someone you care about. Then a broken phone or laptop, this exact request shows up so often it's basically its own category. Then a family situation, a parent, a child, a sibling, landing on real cultural weight around family obligation. Then the motorbike, maybe the car, maybe land, maybe a house, if it goes on long enough, and it's working well from her end. Each step looks like a natural continuation of the last one. Each individual ask is defensible on its own. The pattern only shows up when you step back and look at the whole line, not one link at a time. Step back. Look at the whole sequence. Last thing, I'm not saying this is what everyone in that scene is running. It isn't, and I'm not saying nothing real ever happens between a foreign man and a Thai woman. It does. The American guy and his girlfriend are real, but the arrangements built for income are common enough that they've got their own name in the language of the people running them. And the genuine relationships tend to look different from the inside, slower, built on watched behavior instead of manufactured emotion. They don't start with 2 weeks in Koh Samui and daily transfers from abroad. If you went out there, had a great time, and came home with good memories and your bank account intact, that's the version that works. Enjoy it. If you're currently messaging someone in Pattaya from home right now, sending money, making plans, look at what you actually know about her. Not what she told you, not what you felt. What you actually watched happen over real time. The UK guy will probably figure it out eventually. The only real question is how much it costs him first. Don't be the UK guy.